What is going on, everybody? We are live to discuss AEW All Out. Hopefully, you guys are all having a great night. It's your boy Ango. I know everybody's kind of coming into the chat. AEW All Out saw the return of MJF, so of course we got to talk about that. Long pay-per-view. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. It's almost, it's 12 a.m. So obviously a long night. And so I don't want to keep up too much of your guys' time. I understand it's the holiday weekend. You guys got plans. You guys do got to wake up early in the morning. But I want to talk about some things, and I want to be fair. Because if you follow me on Twitter, I was definitely outspoken on Twitter about the show. But I have to be fair and I have to be honest, because that's how I've always believed I should be doing my live streams and my coverage. So thank you all for joining me. Just some shout outs to get through. Robin's in the chat. Shout out to Robin Plays Games. Graham, Lesta, Lathan, Samuel, Fatal. Shout out to all of you guys. John Taylor. So many of you guys in the chat. What's up, Trauma333? If you guys haven't clicked that subscribe button, please do. I would greatly appreciate it. Shout out to Jay Henry, Justin Kennington. If you guys have any questions or opinions you guys want to be getting read on the stream, the best thing to do is super chat. With this type of review, the chat is crazy. It's very hard to read all your guys' messages. Shout out to Darren as well. Definitely see some VIP members in the chat, so I appreciate you guys coming through. Obviously, the title of the stream is pretty simple. MJF returns at All Out. CM Punk wins the AEW World Championship. I want to talk about this show. And like I said, my job is to always be non-biased. It's to be fair. But I can't sit here and tell you guys that I enjoyed the experience of sitting down for 5 hours and watching this pay-per-view. I can't. But I want to explain why. Because I think a lot of people are going to try to have some misconceptions about what I'm saying tonight. And I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's fair to AEW or myself. Truth be told, I think tonight's show, in terms of matches, there's not one match that I watched tonight where I was not happy in terms of the actual wrestling. Shout out to Sorastro is bad at gaming. Thank you for becoming a sponsor. I appreciate that. First time to make a live stream. Thanks for the hangout. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for becoming a pro member for 2 months. I appreciate it. My issue was not the wrestling matches. We got some super chats. Give me a second. We'll get to that. Fatal Coda super chatted $2. Clash or this garbage pay-per-view? Fatal, I appreciate the super chat. I'm going to answer that. I promise you. I will answer that in just a second, because I'm going to explain. Within what I was saying. Shout out to SGTX as well for subscribing. But Fatal wants to know, did I prefer Clash or this garbage pay-per-view? Now, here's the thing. In terms of the wrestling, okay? The wrestling matches. Every single match was really good. Believe it or not, even Christian Cage and Jungle Boy, the way that ended, I know it kind of confused people and they were kind of bothered by it. That was fine. Long pay-per-view, it made sense as to why the match was this short, right? My issue tonight was actually booking. I feel like there was a lot of outcomes where I would have done things differently. I think the booking was the issue. And as somebody who wants to be fair to AEW, but also I want to make it very clear, right? I'm being fair. Being fair is part of the job, but I have to talk about things that sometimes I don't want to talk about. And I feel like tonight was the worst AEW pay-per-view of all time when it comes to booking decisions. Not in terms of entertainment value, because I think a lot of people are going to get that confused. I'm not talking about entertainment value, but I'm saying in overall booking, there was a lot of mistakes that I felt AEW made. And that really was shocking to me. Because the one thing I said during my live streams going into this pay-per-view was, hey, AEW doesn't do bad booking for pay-per-views. Pay-per-views are the things that they do really well with. Tonight, it didn't feel that way. For example, the Acclaimed had the loudest reaction all night throughout their match. Not only is it match of the night, that was my match of the night. I stand by that. That was match of the night. But it was also very clear to me that when I saw that match, I was wondering why they weren't the champions, right? They could have called an audible. Match went long. There's no reason in this scenario for Swerve and Keith Lee to hold that belt over the Acclaimed. So again, match-wise, entertainment-wise, the show was good. There's no argument there. Great matches. I think some of the finishes and some of the booking decisions were an issue. Shout out to Jay Henry. He says MJF should not be in a stable. Let it be that he hired Muscle using Stokely's group just to do his dirty work. He's very well known for that. Jay Henry, thank you for becoming a member for 5 months. First and foremost, I appreciate that greatly. Thank you. I actually agree with you. I don't think MJF should be in a stable because this stable mimics the Pinnacle. You have the Gun Club. You have Ethan Page. You have Wardlow. You have Morrissey, Stokely as a manager, and then obviously MJF. I don't like the idea of MJF being in a group, but it does make sense. It sucks because I do want Ethan Page, and I want these guys to kind of flourish on their own, and just AEW is not at that point where they feel comfortable, I guess. I don't know. But I will say I can agree with the idea of MJF not being in a stable. It's up to AEW to decide how they go about it, right? That's my point. But thank you for becoming a member for 5 months. I appreciate it, brother. Myra actually dropped a $10 super chat, and she says, and I quote, TK really coming off like VKM. That's from my brother. And it kind of feels that way, right? In certain aspects, I think what kind of happened tonight was Tony Khan, maybe they didn't anticipate or know the type of reaction certain wrestlers on the roster would get. But like a good example, right? Like the matches that had the biggest builds for the show were the matches that were the quickest. Jade Cargill and Athena, can't complain about that match. It's a good match. I actually think Athena looked the best she's ever looked in AEW. And I think Jade Cargill looked the best she's ever looked in AEW. So I'm not complaining about the match, but my complaint is, why are you booking this match when both of them really can't afford to lose? Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks. Both guys looked really good tonight. My complaint is not their match. My complaint is, are you kind of dropping the ball a little bit with Ricky Starks now? So again, I think AEW has kind of gotten to a point where a great pay-per-view like this, yeah, it's great. Like the in-ring action, the matches, the energy is great. But you start to see within a reaction, not only on social media, but with the crowd there, people were starting to realize, like, why are some of these people not being booked to win? And you got to remember, like, the Acclaimed. Like, guys, I've been to so many AEW wrestling events. I've never seen a reaction like that throughout an entire match. I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys. Completely honest. I've never seen anything like that. How did Tony Khan not anticipate that? I don't know. But these are the things that I'm thinking about when I'm watching All Out. Myra just dropped a $20 super chat, and she says, I have been waiting for storytelling and booking to pick up at this rate since what, March now? And yes, the Acclaim not winning was the biggest disappointment for me. Yes, TK, let's just ignore the entire arena. And that's where I get a little bit confused, right? Because we're in a situation, and this is why it's so important to mention this. We're in a situation where it's like, we already know the pay-per-view doesn't have great builds. We know this. I think a lot of people kind of agree, like, they could have done a better job building the pay-per-view. But what we always talk about is, hey, AEW pay-per-views, regardless of the build, you get great outcomes and you get great matches, right? So I think one of the big things that I've personally noticed here was like, yeah, great pay-per-view, right? You're not going to hear me complain about the Acclaimed and Swerve. You're not going to hear me complain about Mox and CM Punk. You're not even going to hear me complain about the Joker being revealed in the way it was done. I liked it. This new faction, I liked it. Personally speaking, I thought it was like a cool thing. You know, I had a really hard time deciding who is going to win. And, you know, my biggest thing is I've always questioned, how will AEW explain to the world that MJF is going to return and be given an opportunity to be and the Joker in the ladder match. That was the thing I always told you guys. I said, hey, what would be the way for AEW to explain Tony Khan giving him a spot on the card after he says F you, right? And when we saw Jon Moxley versus CM Punk wins, and the lights go out, and then you hear the voicemail. And I know some people were saying it's cringe. I looked on Twitter, a lot of people were saying it's cringe and it was terrible. But honestly, I actually liked it. The voicemail explained my biggest concern about MJF being rewarded a championship opportunity. Tony Khan, they play a voicemail of Tony Khan saying, look, man, like, I know you don't like the fans, but the fans want you there. This is my last offer. You can come back. I'll put you in the casino ladder match. I'll give you an extension for this much money. Or I won't give you an extension. You don't have to sign an extension, but I'll give you this much money. At the end of the day, it answered my biggest concerns. So again, my issue is not with how AEW put on their show. My concern tonight, and what I think drew me away, was the idea that AEW had a lot of people win matches where it's like, maybe I wouldn't have done that. Right? Because again, the matches were good. The matches were really, really good. We know this. It's common knowledge, right? You watch AEW, they have a fantastic roster. WWE has a fantastic roster. NXT has a fantastic roster. You know, the expectation is that they're going to have good matches. So that wasn't my concern tonight. That wasn't my issue. I thought the pay-per-view was overwhelming because I think the people who needed to win the most were the ones who didn't win. I felt like Ricky Starks should have gone over. Right? I feel like, and this is where it gets really crazy, the Elite winning the Trios titles. Yeah, you know, I'm trying to care about the Dark Order and Hangman Page. It would have been nice for them to win. Tony Storm winning, no issues with it. Whatsoever, by the way. No issues whatsoever with Tony Storm winning the match. But why not give it to Jamie Hayter? Okay, you introduce a new story there. I like it. Can't complain about it. I would have maybe not done that at this point, but I get it. I'm not going to complain. I kind of like it. Then we get to the point where House of Black loses. And it's the way that they lose where it becomes a point of question, what the hell is happening here? And I'll be honest, that's where I kind of got to the point where I'm like, okay, Malachi Black is probably gone. The talk of his release request probably coming to the point where he's probably gone from the company, right? So again, it's not that I hated AEW All Out. I just hated the booking decisions from AEW All Out. I didn't realize this. I just saw Zachary dropped a $1.99 super chat, so let's read that, and then I'll get back to more of my criticisms and praises. Zachary donated $1.99 through super chat. He says, I think Mox should have won. MJF versus Mox is a new feud. Guys, I hate to tell you this, but if you didn't think MJF was coming back at All Out, this is your number one reason to subscribe if you're not subscribed. August 17th, 2022, I explained in a video all of the championship plans for MJF. So I knew right off the rip, there's no way they're building a feud for MJF versus Moxley. Moxley's got the Blackpool Combat Club. It doesn't make sense whatsoever for that. However, CM Punk versus MJF, you're going to build a trios. You're going to build a trilogy fight, essentially, is what it looks like to me. And that's where I think that's where I don't mind that. I'd actually prefer that, to be honest. Thank you, Zachary, for the super chat. Appreciate it, brother. Shout out to Azriel, Tracina, and X-Ray 8492. Thank you for all subscribing. I appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it. We got almost 600 viewers, guys. If you haven't clicked that like button, go ahead and do so. Absolutely incredible to see MJF return. Like I said, my biggest concern about MJF's return was how are they going to logically say he's the Joker? Tonight they did that. So that's kind of what you need to know there. I'm curious. Did MJF have to actually sign a extension? I see you guys are asking about that in the chat. That's interesting. Let's see. I'm trying to keep up with the chat. You guys are so good. You guys are so quick too. A lot of stuff going off in the chat. Gucci Banger says, who the fuck cares if Ricky Starks or the Dark Order win? Ango, you are being petty. And as for Malachi Black, that whole House of Black thing is trash anyways. Yeah, we're not even going to pay attention to you because doesn't really sound like you're trying to have a conversation. Sounds like you might be a little bit of a hater. Actually, no, I'll address this. Why? Why do I care? Because I fucking talk about it. Because I talk about what I like in wrestling. This isn't the show where I talk about what you like about wrestling. That's for you to do. You get to talk about what you like. I get to talk about what I like. And personally speaking, I like good storylines. I like pushing future stars. What I like to do is create stories and watch stories unfold as stars are created. You don't need to have Powerhouse Hobbs go over. Shout out to Justin Kennington, super chatting $1. Appreciate that. Henry Motu just subscribed. Thank you both for that. I appreciate it. But yeah, no, I feel like I've just gotten to a point, like I like certain things. You don't have to agree, you don't have to disagree, but I like certain things. And it turned out to me tonight when I was watching AEW, in my opinion, Tony Khan is booking in a way that doesn't make sense to me. That's it. Don't believe me? Go look back at the crowd reactions. The crowd reactions will tell you everything. People were shocked. CM Punk is going off in the media scrum. What is happening? I can't necessarily turn it on because of copyright reasons. All right, give me a second. Bear with me, guys. This is interesting. I'm trying to... Okay, hold on. Conman167 says TK did not book that show right. 100% agreed. Yeah, he didn't. He didn't. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you guys and act like he booked a good show. He didn't. But again, people will neglect WWE for bad storytelling. They won't do the same for AEW because we know AEW at this point just isn't consistent with it. We know this. It's been proven. AEW gets a pat on the back because they have great wrestling matches, and then it makes you forget. As if the crowd didn't boo Chris Jericho and Bryan Danielson. So just keep that in mind. If you think I'm wrong, just understand that the crowd that had thousands of people in attendance were literally booing Chris Jericho and Bryan Danielson. Tell me in what world that exists. People wanted Jamie Hayter to win. They were not too pleased to see that she didn't win. So again, there's a lot of things that I'm starting to realize that when I watch AEW, great matches are cool. It's not for me. I can watch great matches all the time, and that's where I think I was a little bit more concerned about AEW tonight. I really wish I could watch the media scrum right now, but I can't. So unfortunately, yeah. Albert Ponce, by the way, dropped a $2 super chat. Much like Roman, who beats Jade finally? That's a great question. Nobody. I still think nobody should beat her. I don't think anybody should beat Jade Cargill. I think she needs to either... I don't know. I think she needs to vacate her belt and go for the women's championship. We got a couple more super chats. Thank you, Albert, by the way. Myra dropped a super chat. Myra dropped a $5 super chat. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry. Guys, there's more super chats I didn't see. Justin Kennington dropped a $5 super chat. Malachi Black is coming to WWE soon rather than later. I don't want to speculate too much on the Malachi Black thing because there's still not confirmation that he's been released. Once we get confirmation on that, it'll be very, very interesting. I will make a video updating you guys once I learn more about it. But yeah, it appears to me that he's probably out of the company. Thank you, Justin, for the $5 super chat. Myra dropped a $5 super chat. Would have been cool to see Dark Order win. Unexpected win as the underdog. Strike while the iron is hot. Granted, I'm also looking at what they did with Starks. That's a concern, right? Strike when the iron is hot. Dark Order has been on this roster since the very beginning. They haven't won tag team championship belts. They haven't won the trios belts. And I get it. You got to put over the elite, and that's kind of the thing that AEW does, right? But why not do something different? Why not do something that's going to shock people? Why not do something that's going to make people think, wow, Adam Silver, that's the NBA commissioner, John Silver and Alex Reynolds and Hangman Page, they won? It's a feel-good story, right? So I agree with that. And it goes back to give me 1 second. It kind of goes back to what I was saying about AEW has a hard time pulling the trigger sometimes. And we've seen this from the very, very beginning of the company. And I don't mean that as a bad thing or as a negative thing. It's just sometimes I don't think they know when to pull the trigger when the iron actually is hot. But I feel bad for Dark Order because I would have loved to see them. Just really go off and kill it, honestly. I'm not mad about the Elite winning. It just would have been cool to do something different because that's what people are looking for. And again, you can just watch the crowd. The crowd reaction tells you everything. Forget about the dude that's just sitting in his room making a podcast live, right? Forget about his opinion. If you don't value my opinion, that's fine. Go look at the 10,000 people that paid a shit ton of money for those tickets and go see what they wanted. I'm not telling you something new. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people got to realize with AEW, not one bad match, but a lot of questionable decisions on who wins those matches. And I think you need to understand that. That's my concern tonight. Thank you, Myra, for the $5 super chat. We got some more super chats. Zachary dropped $1.99. He says, wasted Kip's return, first match back after 522 days. Yeah, I mean, Kip losing to Pac, it's kind of what you expect, right? The one thing I will say that was a positive out of this, and the one thing I actually liked about this, personally speaking, is the fact that Kip did embrace some sort of issue with talking to the box. Like, he was talking to the box like he was pissed off. I don't know what the hell a freaking paper cardboard box would cost you your match. I don't know. But I'm willing to see it unfold because I like storytelling. I just personally wouldn't have booked that match, right? I wouldn't have booked Kip's return match for a championship belt, one. That's the big thing. And I wouldn't have done it for a guy who can't afford to lose the championship belt. You see what I'm saying? That's the concern. Like, you could have had Kip Sabian fight somebody else, and he could have won. But because you put Kip Sabian against Pac, who is defending his belt for the first time on AEW soil, at least, he can't afford to lose either. So these are the questionable things that I'm talking about. That's why I didn't say this pay-per-view is garbage. I didn't say this pay-per-view is garbage. What I said is that this pay-per-view specifically just had some very questionable decisions. And if you can't admit that and you don't see that, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you. I would say maybe you're okay with just watching whatever. But I can't. Look, here's the thing. I can't complain about WWE when they do shit like this and not complain about AEW when they do shit like this. That's how I remain bias free. And the real ones who actually listen to the words and listen to my coverage actually understand that. Shout out to Zachary, by the way. Thank you for that super chat. We got some more super chats. We got one from Adam for $5. Hey, Ango, I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was a great show. The MJF thing, I didn't see it coming, but again, I enjoy the show. I don't care what they say. I saw it coming because, again, on my channel, I made a video August 17th talking about World Championship plans. So I did see it coming. I saw a lot of people hate the reveal, by the way. A lot of people on Twitter were really pissed about that. A lot of people were on Twitter and they were like not happy that this ladder match was interrupted by Stokely and all these guys. I like it. Why? I liked when Retribution debuted on WWE. So again, I'm not saying my opinion's right or wrong, but I didn't have an issue with that. Great match. You got to do something to kick off the pay-per-view very hot. You want MJF on TV, right? I think it makes sense. I think, it gives its purpose. Obviously, we're trying to understand, okay, why is Stokely trying to recruit people? Now it makes sense. Stokely recruited people for a faction with MJF. I can't complain about that. But yes, I'm glad you enjoyed the show, right? If you paid money for a ticket or for the pay-per-view, I'm glad you enjoy it. If you enjoy it, there's nothing wrong with that. Just so you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So shout out to you, Adam, for the $5 super chat. Appreciate it. Terrell Fulton dropped a $2 super chat. Do you think AEW will ever get it right? I hope so. I don't. Today I kind of lost my confidence with it because these were things I've been picking out for months. This is not something that I just randomly discovered today. And I think that's why you got people in the crowd booing Chris Jericho, and you got all this stuff. All of these things with Chris Jericho and Bryan Danielson in the crowd booing them. People are starting to realize, like, yeah, AEW's got some holes that they need to fill these holes. They need to fix it, right? That's how you're going to do it. That is literally how you're going to do it. You got to fix the small things, because the one thing that WWE is doing right now under Triple H's leadership is making sure the small details matter. And I see the small details with AEW not necessarily matter anymore, which is freaking crazy. I'll be honest. The reason why it's crazy to me, some of you might not want to actually agree with this. Go back a year or two and watch all my videos on AEW. Go back and watch those streams. Go back and watch those videos. And the one thing I praise, I'm like, damn, I just love how Tony Khan cares about the small details. The fact that he cares about the little things that people don't even pay attention to. I was like, freaking Tony Khan gets it. I loved AEW about that, you know? And then today and last week and the week before, for months and months and months, I'm like, guys, it's going to catch up. People are going to turn on AEW because the small things that don't matter are now messing with the logic of the storytelling of the things that are trying to be achieved. And that was an issue, and that was a concern. So that's why I bring that up. Thank you, Terrell, for the super chat. Appreciate it very much. I'm trying not to fall behind, but we're getting so many super chats. Sorry, guys. Myra dropped another $5 super chat. Also, I'm not going to ignore Penta getting all that pyro for the entrance and memorable moments and yet another loss. And that's where AEW makes the mistake. They're booking a lot of guys in matches where they can't afford to lose, but they're losing. And there might be logic as to them losing, but sometimes it just becomes too redundant and it kind of catches up, right? But I definitely agree with that, and I think Penta getting all that presentation was a good thing. I would love to see... Well, and we don't know how long this trio's reign will go for the Elite. I actually don't want it to be a long one. Now that Bobby Fish is gone from AEW, I don't necessarily know what the situation is there, but I would really, really love Death Triangle to go for those trios belts because it appears like House of Black is not going to be there. So the next best thing at this point is either give it to Dark Order or give it to Death Triangle. That's what I would like to see personally. Thank you, Myra, for the $5 super chat. Appreciate you. Before I jump to the next super chat, I just wanted to read this. Troma says, Khan didn't create a single new star. Acclaim could have been made. Jungle Boy could have got a boost. Hater could have been recognized, and Dark Order deserved to win after all the work they've done. And that's a really good way to summarize what I feel. Not a bad pay-per-view, but there's like booking decisions where I'm shaking my head. And it sucks, dude. It sucks. I hate that. Me personally, I think it's repetitive. I think it's very, very overwhelming to watch a pay-per-view for 5-6 hours that is completely underwhelming in booking. So I definitely agree with that. We got another super chat. Let's keep the list going. Let's see. I want to make sure I don't skip anybody because I know we got a couple. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to keep up. Albert Pons dropped. Was it Albert? Yep. So Albert dropped a $5 super chat. People wanted Drew to win last night in Dakota. Hold on. People wanted Drew to win last night and Dakota Sky in the finals. Neither happened. And if talent floods WWE again, we just keep the cycle going. But here's the difference, right? Here is the difference. This is where I'll argue a little bit about the difference between WWE and AEW in this regard. So people wanted Drew to win last night, right? However, WWE is building something more for Roman Reigns and the bloodline. And we know this. And I even said, I'm not mad that they didn't have Drew win, but it would have been nice for WWE to have Drew win. Here is where you got to understand. Drew doesn't need the win. Drew's career is not defined by that win. He's held the championship before he took the belt off of one of the biggest names in WWE history. In fact, I would rather have Cody beat Roman. I would rather have Johnny Gargano beat Roman. I would rather have Karrion Kross beat Roman, because I feel like those people can benefit from beating Roman Reigns, right? So yes, people wanted Drew to win. People wanted Dakota Kai and Io Sky to win, but there's more to that. And because there's more to it, those wins don't necessarily matter. There is a bigger picture that people got to start paying attention to. Shout out to you, Albert, for a $5 super chat. Appreciate it. We got a $5 super chat from Sean G. Possibility that Black is taking time off instead of being released. Also, MJF returning was the worst kept secret in my opinion. Enjoy your content. Sean, thank you for enjoying my content. I appreciate that. Thank you for the $5 super chat. There is always that possibility that Black is taking time off instead of being released. And it's really, really hard for me to speculate on this because mental health comes into play here. If Maxwell Jacob Friedman returns to AEW after all those issues with AEW, that tells me Tony Khan is willing to fix the problems, right? So Malachi Black's situation is more of like a personal problem with his mental health. Is Tony Khan and Malachi Black's relationship similar to MJF's, where Tony Khan is like, hey man, like I want you here, I'll help you whichever way we can help you, just let me know? Or is Tony Khan the type of leader with Malachi Black where he goes, hey, you're not happy here, you're going through some issues, you don't like the creative, this is what we're doing, you make up your mind and I'll leave it to you. You know what I mean? We don't know what that response is from Tony Khan, and how it differs, like relationships between wrestlers and how they differ from amongst each other. So I could see it very well being the case where he's just taking time off, but there was a lot of rumors about Malachi Black being one guy that like really wanted out of AEW. And it's really hard for me to speculate on it because, again, it's mental health. And how much of mental health is it? Is it mental health issues because of AEW creative? Because that's what the rumors are, but that's just a rumor. It's not like Malachi Black openly addressed the fans and was like, guys, I want out of AEW. I hate my booking. I hate my creative direction. It's causing me mental health issues. Like, I think context is everything, and that's why it's so hard to speculate on it. But if he wants out of the company and that was his last moment, and I won't lie to you guys, I think he should. He should go back to WWE. I don't think he's been booked as good as he was since the day he was with Triple H and NXT. Aleister Black had a hell of a run in WWE NXT. And I really, really enjoyed his work there. And I feel like, and this is why I get kind of upset with AEW, because it's like, dude, you show me signs of greatness every time House of Black is on TV, and then you kind of pull them away. You don't do as much with them. It like kind of becomes concerning. So yeah, I don't know. As far as MJF goes, yeah, like I said, guys, I made a video August 17th, 2022, talking about his return, and you guys, a lot of people didn't think it was going to happen, but I told you, man, World Championship plans, they're working towards it. So obviously we all saw what happened there. Shout out to you, Sean, for the $5 super chat. Appreciate it. Let's see. We got some more super chats I'm trying to get to. Albert Pons dropped another one. Both companies will go up and down. TK really just needs to get things fixed quick, or it will get really ugly quick. That's where I think. I don't think AEW's in the mud. I don't think AEW's dying. I think what people are starting to realize, though, and I think today was the start of it, is that they are going to be a lot more conscious of the decisions AEW makes, and they're going to be a lot more responsive and more outspoken about it. This was the first time I've ever seen a crowd turn on Bryan Danielson in AEW. This crowd definitely made it clear when certain bookings were done, certain things happened in the show, they made it clear they were not happy. And that's something I've never seen in an AEW event before. So now we know the honeymoon phase is over. We understand that completely. The honeymoon phase is over. I think you're absolutely right. TK just really needs to get things fixed quickly. And I think, and I get it. People on Twitter and YouTube, they're sad and they're emotional because Ango disagrees with them, or Ango's being negative about AEW. But I'm not. I'm not saying anything negative about AEW. What I'm really doing right now is basically saying, imagine if they gave people the booking decisions they wanted. And you can't do it all the time, but you got to understand, bro. You're trying to build new stars, right? So imagine this. You're trying to build new stars. You got MJF returning. You got the Acclaimed. You got all of these people. Like, you know Acclaimed is over. You know they've been the best homegrown tag team in your company. You know the Dark Order is over. Yet, for some reason, you're giving the Trios belts to the Elite. But, like, you have near falls where John Silver is about to pin Kenny Omega and might win the Trios belts, and then you don't give it to them and you keep teasing them. Yeah, I think people are going to be a little bit more outspoken and say, listen, like, we need something different. We need something a little bit better. We need, again, you got to remember, people booed Chris Jericho and Bryan Danielson. They worked a hell of a match. I was impressed. I love the fact that Chris Jericho was working a technical match. It was different, right? And then it's just like, why does Chris Jericho need the win? He doesn't. But Bryan Danielson, by the way, just a fun fact, he has yet to win a singles match on pay-per-view while he's been in AEW. So, there you go. Shout out to you, Albert. Thank you for the super chat. Zachary dropped a super chat. Let's read it. $4.99 super chat. OC can't afford to lose to Pac. AEW is booking themselves into a corner. I think Pac should have defended the belt to Buddy Matthews instead. Yeah. And that's what it's really coming down to, right? They're booking matches where people just can't afford to lose. Kip Sabian shouldn't be losing. You have this guy sitting in you have him sitting in the crowd for over a year now. People, by the way, just so you know, AEW grew. The last time that Kip Sabian was on TV, a lot of people are now watching AEW. They don't know who he is. They didn't know what the frick was going on with the box. So you have this guy, he comes back, and then he loses. Yeah, he looks like a loser. Doesn't matter what the storyline is. This is where it's a bad booking decision, because what you should be doing, at least what I think they should be doing, is give Kip Sabian an opponent that isn't necessarily like a big deal right now. Maybe somebody who doesn't need the push, or maybe a veteran. Give him Dustin Rhodes. I don't know. Give him somebody who doesn't need the win. Have Kip Sabian go over. Then you have Pac defend his belt against somebody where Pac should be going over. And then you put them together for a singles match. You build it up, right? Because at least people see Kip Sabian and they're like, oh, well, he came back. He got a win. He's a winner. But the perception is he's a loser. Who is this guy? I've never seen him. By the way, Kip Sabian's attire, presentation, everything is beautiful. Loved it. Thank you, Zachary, for the $4.99 super chat. Appreciate it. Fatal Coda dropped a $2 super chat. I saw Malachi Black bow down and blue kiss. He may be gone. Yeah, we did address that earlier. I don't know exactly what the situation is, and again, I don't want to speculate too much on it, but I think what we have realized is Malachi Black wants out. Is he granted his release, or is he going on a hiatus? That's what I think we kind of need to know. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Appreciate it. Keep going. AYB Greg, what's up, dude? $5 super chat. Honestly, the lack in good booking decisions is a result of TK taking over creative instead of letting the EVPs, several solid wrestling minds, help. He's got a lot of people that can help him. And if you guys want to know the reason why the momentum shifted to WWE, it wasn't by accident. It wasn't by accident. WWE didn't just all of a sudden, yes, 100% Triple H took over and it was an immediate change. But I think a lot of people were watching WWE, getting ready to bolster through with crazy opinions about WWE. And then what they realized was that WWE was paying attention to the small details in storytelling. And sure enough, what happened? An increase in viewership, increase in interest, increase in everything. So people on the IWC were looking at WWE and they're like, yeah, like these small things matter. And then you start to realize like AEW kind of isn't doing that. But then if you go back to 2021 and you would see how much thought goes into the little things about AEW's product, you're like, yeah, why aren't they doing that anymore? I think that really does come down to TK just needs a little bit of help. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong to point that out. It would be different if the pay-per-view flopped in terms of the matches, but the pay-per-view didn't flop in terms of the matches. It just decisions were kind of weird. And that's it. And that just tells me there's a little bit of a disconnect in the product. Maybe TK is very, very firm on his beliefs on booking, and that's fine. I guess you can be that way. Vince McMahon was the same way. I just thought he was different from Vince McMahon. Thank you, Greg, for the $5 super chat. Albert Pons dropped another super chat for $5. Bigger picture for WWE, not the fans, which is my argument. But this is a good example where we might not agree, but that's fine because we can debate it. Of course. Yeah. I agree 100%, brother. I agree 100%. And that's, I can only give my perception of how I see things. And I think AEW used to be really, really good with the small details, and that's the biggest thing that is they're not doing. Unfortunately. Thank you, Albert, by the way, for the super chat. I appreciate you, brother. BP Mafia Sinister 1 says, what was the best event for you this weekend? So, I can't complain about all three of them. I can't. As a wrestling fan, I feel like we got something really good throughout three. I thought WWE did a really, really good job with storytelling. I think they also did a really good job with certain not all of the matches, but certain matches were really, really good with WWE this weekend. I think AEW was a letdown in terms of the storytelling portion, not entirely, but I think AEW in terms of in-ring action, they had a hell of a night. In terms of in-ring action, in terms of watching bell to bell, I think AEW did really good. So again, there's things that they both do very good and very bad with, and that's kind of why I think it's hard to pick the best event. We got a $4.99 super chat from Anthony Otterwald. No comment with that one. Interesting. Thank you, Anthony, for the super chat. Appreciate it. Anyone see Punk at the media scrum? People were saying that he went off on the media scrum. Guys, we made a video on this. CM Punk is going heel. I don't know. If you guys think CM Punk is not working you, I would say he is. We know CM Punk is turning heel. So, we already covered that on the channel. Jeffrey Griggs, what up, dude? You dropped a $9.99 super chat. Appreciate that so much. Thank you. We got another super chat from Zachary for $1.99. TK books for ratings boost. The bigger draw wins. Zachary, I agree, brother. I agree. I truly agree. And I think the biggest issue is that's not working for them. And TK wasn't always doing that. That's the thing, is I don't think Tony Khan was always doing that, and that's unfortunate. And actually, you can tell that's one of the biggest difference within the company. So, thank you all for your super chats. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Overall, I'm a little bit underwhelmed. I'm not going to lie. I feel like Tony Khan needs to get a little bit better. But not terrible pay-per-view either. You know what I mean? I just think I think the matches were incredible. I just think some of the wrong people won. And I think that comes down to some fundamental booking issues. That's just my opinion. I don't know. Rob Herring dropped a $5 super chat. Do you think WWE should have switched the few champions at Clash at the Castle? And do you think they're going to upgrade the male tag team belts? Yeah, so I think they are going to change the belts all across the board. Do I feel like they could have switched a few championships? No, I don't think so. I didn't have any disagreement with WWE's booking at Clash at the Castle. However, at Worlds Collide, I would have changed titles for a couple people, personally speaking. Yeah. Thank you for the $5 super chat, Rob. Appreciate it, guys. We're going to call it a night. We've been live for over 45 minutes. Normally, I go for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. We have been pumping out content this weekend. So, obviously with Labor Day in America, I know everybody's going to be up early in the morning. So, yeah, please feel free to get some rest or watch the media scrum. Jeffrey Griggs just dropped a $20 super chat. Wow. Jeffrey, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate that. Appreciate that so much. Guys, I appreciate you all for coming out tonight, dropping super chats, going off in the chat. You guys are absolutely wild. We had 600 viewers at one point. I love that I'm back live on YouTube. I'm extremely excited about this. I enjoy the fact that we get to talk with each other. It's been a long day, man. We've been killing it with these live streams. And I want to give you guys the time to go relax and stuff. Watch the Media Scrum. We'll be back live tomorrow for Monday Night Raw after the show. But yeah, if you guys aren't in the Discord, probably should join the Discord, by the way. But hopefully you guys enjoy the show. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys for coming through, and I'll see you.